Most significantly, continues the US Department of Energy, most significantly, by this means even people could be transported by sending enough classical information. So, they're on the borders of it now. We now have a situation where we have, like in the medical race, we have a race between those people thinking in terms of anti-gravity aircraft and bending space-time to get spacecraft through situations, but we have this other stuff going on which actually says to us, by the time we get there we won't need machines to travel in at all. We'll be able to teleport anyway. Scientists at NASA, at Argonne National Labs, up there in Chicago, all sorts of institutes around the world, at the Bose Institute of Calcutta and universities wherever, have all stated now that they have been able to link particle elements together, no matter how far apart they are, whether it's single atoms or trillions of atoms, they can link them together. So the sciences, all of these quantum sciences now, whether it's in Vienna, in Denmark, or here in the United States, they're all moving into the forefront. Everything's being called nano, everything's being called quantum, how much? They make the point of the problem that we face, and it's just like the cancer and the DNA, it's a massive problem with a very small answer. Proxima Centauri is our nearest star. Our next star is 4.2 light years away. That's 4.5 years travelling at the speed of light. The Voyager spacecraft left our atmosphere at 37,000 miles an hour. Even at that speed, it would take it 87,000 years to get to that star. There's no way we can do it. It's impossible. Everything dies, everything collapses, everything runs out, falls apart in the course of it, unless you take the space-time away. That's what they're working on now. That's what they're having to do. Nothing travels faster than light, they say, but we need to travel faster than light in order to make any headway. If travelling faster than light is impossible, the only alternative is to approach the problem from a different perspective. We must learn how to manipulate and distort space-time. The Ohio Aerospace Institute says that all of this is possible now because it's been recognized that space is just like any other matter. It has a form, it has a shape, it can be bent, it can be distorted. And how did they recognize that? Because when the white light explosions occurred and 44% suddenly disappeared, it was a blaze of light, but light has no weight. So what was happening here? Light has no weight, it simply illuminates space-time. Oh, maybe it's the space-time that weighs 44%. Yes, it was. Space-time has weight. It's physical matter. Among the forms of exotic matter they're now examining with great interest is something called stardust. Microscopic grains from way beyond our environment up there, way beyond the stratosphere, ionosphere, and these grains are found as particles, no more than 6 in every 100,000 other particles of dust up there. It's the oldest substance known to exist. It actually holds the reasoning for why we have life on this planet and how it works and how it originates. What does it test as? A very strange, unique form of silica that doesn't seem to be anything except they know it has a metallic base, but it's not showing up in the tests. Sounds familiar? Sounds very familiar. This is a conglomeration of particles within which, somewhere in there, is a stardust particle in this minuscule thing. What they've ascertained and the way that they recognize it is that they say that they have discovered it on Earth. That's how they understand it. They found it in deep seabed sediments. They found it in Arctic ice. They found it in those parts of the Earth which they consider were the first and oldest of what we can get to today. And some of it, strangely enough, in asteroid and very, very ancient meteorite sites, Arizona being very famous in that regard. They say stardust will reveal more than we ever guessed we could know about life on this planet. Stardust is golden. They've used the phrase. They've got this spacecraft up there right now. It's called Stardust. It's hoping to bring back about 100 particles. It'll bring them back and they'll be tested at the Johnson Space Center from January 2006. And how does it collect them? How does it distinguish 6 out of every 100,000 other dust particles when it's going through millions of thousands of them at a time? This device on the top there, this grid thing, is full of something called aerogel. Aerogel looks like nothing. It weighs absolutely nothing. There she is balancing it on her fingertips. It can be penetrated by nothing. Not even heat can get through it. That Bunsen burner is having no effect on those wax crayons. Aerogel is absolutely and totally heat resistant. It will withstand particle and granular impacts of 60,000 odd miles an hour. Why is it called aerogel? Because it's made from air. 98% of that is air, nothing else at all. 2%, they won't tell us. It's a secret, but wow, what a secret that is. Why have we always known that gold was valuable? Why have we always hoarded gold? We've done it for as long as we can think. From the 1840s, when the California gold rush began, I'm told by the World Gold Council that to that point in time, only 10% of all the gold ever mined up until today's date had been mined. 90% of all the gold ever mined to now has been done since the 1840s. Think of ancient Egypt. Think of Russia and its wonderful golden domes. Think of the way that gold was so visible throughout the whole of history. That was 10%. Where's the 90%? We pay fortunes to put a little bit on our wrist or our finger. Where's the rest? Well, we dig it up underground and we bring it up top, we clean it up, we melt it down, we turn it into gold bars and we bury it back under the ground again. A wonderful system. Nobody ever sees it. It underpins everything, but now they're selling it. Who are they selling it to? Interesting question. We have about 30 years of oil at best left in the world if we're lucky. Coal is just about done for. I mean, everything's getting too expensive now. We don't really want to burn stuff and pollute the atmosphere. So alongside the drug companies, the oil companies are really feeling the pinch as well. So who's buying the materials? I have a theory that probably it's the oil and drug companies, putting themselves in a position to become tomorrow's masters of the new source materials. Everything begins to link. You know, stardust is now the secret holder of the force of life. It's the origin of life. It's the giver of life. Well, so were monatomic elements. So were the ancients saying about the shamana and the mufkut. It was all the same thing. Every description of these substances was always the same. We think about the Bible story, we think about how we can make monatomic elements now. We need electronic devices, we need fire, we need all sorts of things, but we need electricity. In one way or another, we need electricity, and this is the one bit of the equation that has to be got through very quickly, because this is our last remnant, we think, about electricity. How are we going to produce electricity to manufacture our fuel cells if we don't have the fossil fuels to have our power stations? We get electricity from its most natural source, which is around us all the time. What we need is a device that will attract electricity, that will store electricity, that will discharge electricity in a very controllable form, in enormous quantities. However, we need to do it.